Welcome to biology, the scientific study of life. Gnothostomes are vertebrates that have jaws. Hagfishes and lampreys are survivors from an age when jawless craniates were common. Today, they are far outnumbered by jawed vertebrates known as gnothostomes. Derived characters of gnothostomes. Gnothostomes' jaw mouth are named for their jaws, hunched structures that, especially with the help of teeth, enable gnothostomes to grab food items firmly and slice them up. According to one hypothesis, gnothostomes' jaws evolved by modification of the skeletal rods that had previously supported the anterior pharyngeal gill slits. The remaining gill slits, no longer required for suspension feeding, remained as the major sites of respiratory gas exchange with the external environment. The other hypothesis posit different structures as the origin of jaws. Researchers comparing genes involved in the development of the mouth in lampreys and gnothostomes are testing these hypotheses. Gnothostomes share other derived characters besides jaws. The common ancestors of all gnothostomes underwent an additional duplication of Hox genes such that the single cluster present in early chordates became 4. Other gene clusters also duplicated, allowing further complexity in the development of gnothostomes embryos. The gnothostomes forebrain is enlarged compared to that of the other craniates, mainly is in association with enhanced senses of smell and vision, running the length of each side of the body in aquatic gnothostomes in the lateral line system, a row of microscopic organs sensitive to vibrations in the surrounding water, as shown in this video. As mentioned earlier, the ancestors of gnothostomes began to acquire a mineralized endoskeleton. In the common ancestors of living gnothostomes, the axial skeleton, shoulder, girdle, and parietal appendages were mineralized. Fossil gnothostomes. Gnothostomes appeared in the fossil record in the mid-Ovidivision period, about 470 million years ago, and steadily become more diverse. Their success probably lies into features of their anatomy. Their parietal fins and tail around them to swim efficiently after prey, and their jaws enable them to grab prey or simply bite off chunks of flesh. The earliest gnothostomes in the fossil record are an extinct lineage of armored vertebrates called blacoderms, which means blade-skinned. Most blacoderms were less than a meter long, though some giants measured more than 10 meters. Another group of jawed vertebrates called acnothodians radiated during the Devonian period, and many new forms evolved in fresh and salt water. Acnothodians were closely related to the ancestors of Osteichthyes, refined fishes, and lubifids. Both blacoderms and acnothodians had disappeared by the beginning of the Carboniferous period, about 360 million years ago. Convexes, sharks, rays, and their relatives. Sharks, rays, and their relatives include some of the biggest and most successful vertebrate predators in the oceans. They began to the class convexes, which means cartilage fish, as the name indicates. Convexes have a skeleton that is composite predominantly of cartilage, often impregnated with calcium. With the name cardo convexes was first coined in the 18, scientists thought that convexes represented a primitive stage in the evolution of the vertebrate skeleton, and that mineralization had evolved only in more derived lineage, such as bony fishes. Strengthening this notion was the fact that embryos in these derived lineage that these derived lineages first develop a skeleton made largely of cartilage. Later, much of the cartilage is replaced by bone, a hard matrix of calcium phosphate. However, this view has been abandoned as condense and armored jewels. Vertebrates demonstrate the mineralization of the vertebrate skeleton had already begun before the convexes lineage branched off from other vertebrates. Moreover, traces of bone can be found in living convexes in their scales at the base of their teeth and in some sharks in a thin layer on the surface of the vertebra. The restricted distribution of bone in the convexes body appears to be derived condition which emerged after they diverged from other gnothostomes. There are about 750 species of living convexes. The largest and most diverse subclass consists of the sharks and rays. A second subclass is composite of a few dozen species of ratfishes or chimeras. Most sharks have a streamlined body and are swift swimmers, but they do not maneuver very well. Powerful movements of the trunk and the caudal tail fin propel them forward. The dorsal fins function mainly as stabilizers, and the paired pectoral fore and pelvic hind fins provide lift when the shark swim. Although a shark gains buoyancy by storing a large amount of oil in its huge liver, the animal is still more dense than water, and if it stops swimming, it sinks. Continual swimming also ensures that water follows into the shark's mouth and out through the gills, where gas exchange occurs. However, some sharks and many skates or rays spend a good deal of time resting on the seafloor. When resting, they use muscles of their jaws and pharynx to pump water over the gills. The largest sharks and rays are suspension feeders that consume plankton. Most sharks, however, are carnivores that swallow their prey whole or use their powerful jaws and sharp teeth to tear flesh from animals too large to swallow in one piece. Sharks have several rows of teeth that gradually move to the front of the mouth as all teeth are lost. The digestive tract of many sharks is proportionately shorter than that of many other vertebrates. Within the shark intestine is a spiral valve, um, a corkscrew-shaped ridge that increases surface area and prolongs the passage of food through the digestive tract. A quiet senses are adaptations that go along with the active carnivores lifestyle of sharks. Sharks have sharp vision but cannot distinguish colors. The nostrils of sharks, like those of most aquatic vertebrates, open into dead end cups. They function only for olfaction, smelling, not for breathing. Sharks also have a pair of regions in the skin of their head that can detect electric fields generated by the muscle contractions of nearby animals. Like other aquatic vertebrates, sharks have no eardrum structures that terrestrial vertebrates use to transmit sound waves in air to the auditory organs. Sound reaches a shark through water, and the animal's entire body transmits the sound to the hearing organs of the inner ear. Shark eggs are fertilized internally. The male has a pair of claspers on its pelvic fins that transfer sperm into the reproductive um, tracts of the female. Some species of the sharks are ovoviviparous, ovoviviparous. They lay eggs that hatch outside the mother's body. These sharks release their eggs after encasing them in protective coats. Other species are ovoviviparous. They retain the fertilized eggs in the oviduct, nourished by the egg's yolk. The embryos develop into young that are born after hatching. Uh, Within the uterus, a few species are viviparous. The young develop within the uterus and obtain nourishment to bear by receiving nutrients from the mother's blood through the iolic sac placenta. By absorbing a nutritious fluid produced by the uterus or by eating other eggs, the reproductive tract of the shark impetus, along with the excretory system and digestive tract impetus, digestive tract into the cloaca, a common chamber that has a single opening to the outside. Although rays are closely related to sharks, they have adopted a very different lifestyle. Most rays are flattened bottom dwellers that feed by using their jaws to crush mollusks and crustaceans. They use their greatly enlarged pectoral fins like water wings to propel themselves through the water. The tail of many rays is web-like, and in some species bears um, veno, bears venomous barbs that function in defense. Convexes have changed little in over 300 million years. Today, however, they are severely threatened with overfishing. In 23, researchers reported that shark stocks in the northwest Atlantic declines 75% in 15 years.